We made a game about getting abducted by UFOs, but it's not what you think. You see, the world right now is going crazy about aliens and UFOs in particular. We had the whistleblower incidents, the tiny mummified aliens appeared in Mexico, loads of UFO related footage was shown online. Well, you get that. Since people are so into aliens right now, there just has to be an increase in audience who would like to play UFO-themed games, right? So we tried to do an experiment, create and release a UFO game to Steam in less than 2 months. In order to make a cool game that quickly, we joined hands with another game developer's team, CHARK, and got to work. A quick spoiler alert, this video is going to have some spoilers, as I'm going to cover how we developed the game from start to finish. And Unveiling is already out on Steam, so if you would like to play it without any spoilers, now is your chance. You have been warned, let's continue. So before starting to work on the game, we did what every game developer does best before starting any new projects. We ate some pizza and started brainstorming loads of game ideas. We simply let our minds run wild and fantasized about completely anything, including black holes, endless environments, brutalistic structures, walking on water, and even floating cars. Yep, cars can fly. What, you didn't know that? When we got the main idea set in place, we spent a bunch of time prototyping like crazy. Meanwhile, there were some visual effect experiments going on as well. We had some orbs dissolving stuff around, black holes eating the walls away, and even the most realistic shadows. After we had our fun with the prototypes, we got an idea to make a fully story-driven UFO abduction experience, where you will have to explore different mind-bending environments and solve some puzzles here and there. The plan was to create 4 chapters in total. A road, a dark forest, a museum of some sort, and something mysterious. As for the main gameplay requirement, every new chapter has to introduce something twisted. And after getting all the tasks written down, it was finally time to eat pizza and then start working on each of the chapters. So the main idea for the road chapter was to introduce the player to the game's theme and world, and for that we built a highway using Unity's terrain tools, added a cool 80s vehicle that the player will be riding in, as well as used shaders magic to create our game's signature element, the UFO. The whole gameplay aspect of this chapter wasn't that wide, we simply wanted it to feel like a cutscene. The only interaction that you are able to do here is move the camera to look around, while calmly driving on the highway. Whoa, some people really need to learn how to drive, man. At the end of the relaxing drive, you will see some lights flashing around here and there, when suddenly a strange thing appears in the sky. You don't recognize it at all, so you decide to go out of the car to take a better look. And then suddenly, you notice a bright light beam that starts pulling you in closer toward that mysterious object, until you get basically sucked in. And with that, we can check the road chapter off the list. As for the next chapter, we got an idea to make a dense, dark and moody forest where you would have to walk around and try to discover the exit in order to progress further. But what usually happens with forests in video games is that whenever you get to an edge, you encounter a wall of some sort that is simply blocking your way through. But that's way too cheap, isn't it? We just needed to have something more unique and mind-bending in a UFO-themed game. So we came up with an idea to try and make an endless looping forest instead. What I mean by that is that whenever the player walks beyond the edge of the forest tile, he will be teleported to the opposite side of the tile. And with some clean alignments, you cannot even notice the teleportation happening. This made the forest feel so much better and a lot bigger than it actually is, especially if you end up walking in the wrong direction for most of the time. At the end of the forest, we started adding even more strange encounters, like these huge open waters that you can walk on top of. Well, and of course, we just had to add the endless looping mechanic here as well. That way, even if the player decides to walk away from the car, he will always get back to it in no time. Yep, there's no escaping from the lake. The museum needed an entrance, so that's where this part comes in. The initial plan for the entrance was to have a huge desert environment with a museum building in the center of it all.
Hello? Hello?
but that kept on changing quite fast. Somehow it went from these two pyramids stacked on top of each other to all of these obelisk-like looking buildings placed everywhere. And for this, you guessed it right, we used the same looping mechanic so that it does not matter which building the player chooses to go to, he will always get near the real entrance. Once you go inside into the entrance, you actually get into a labyrinth-based puzzle. Yep, somehow a scene that was supposed to be only a simple entrance into the museum turned into a full separate chapter. And we ended up fantasizing a lot about adding some cool places to explore in this underground section. But I'll not spill the beans here so that you can actually discover everything yourself when you try the game. Oh yeah, let me just fix that real quick. That's more like it, we have 5 chapters now. And then we go straight into the museum, a strangely deformed concrete structure with some twisted walls placed all over the place. At this point in the game, we needed to introduce something new that could keep the gameplay fresh, and for that we decided to improve on the character controller by adding an option to walk on walls. All you have to do is simply move toward the wall and you will seamlessly switch to walking on walls and even the ceilings. By using this cool feature, we were able to come up with some mind-bending levels where you could barely understand what's a wall, a floor, or a ceiling, as the rooms kept on spinning and spinning. We kept on polishing and updating the museum a lot. Initially, we had some basic blockout levels, just to try out the new walking mechanics. Then we added the walls, and even made loads of cool visuals and the aesthetics. But we did not stop here. We also gave the player an option to pick up items, which will be required in order to solve puzzles. As for the puzzles, the main idea is to figure out which parts are missing from a marked spot. If a correct part is dropped in, a statue will be built and the player will be able to progress further. As for the final chapter, it's all about... Wait. No, I'm not gonna talk about this one. I did mention that it's a mysterious one. And it's no fun if mysteries are spoiled, am I right? So you'll have to experience this all by yourself. Although I can confirm that we did use some cool visual effects here. And by that, the game is now finished. In the end, we somehow managed to finish up within 2 months, which means that we met our initial goal. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe and leave a comment about what you liked or disliked the most. And if you are interested, check out Unveiling on Steam. And if you are still here and want to see more, here is some gameplay from the final game.
Show me who you are.
Thanks for watching and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.